Hello everyone, my name is Michelle Ramirez, and this is my reading final project for the class ESOL 1310. The book I choose for this final project is Burn It Down, Feminist Manifestos for the Revolution, by Brianne Foss. I'm using the 40th Manifesto by Crystal Zaragoza. Manifesto of the Erased, Mujeres, Decolonize el Dios Americano. I also want to add that I chose this book because I've read it before, and it deeply resonates with the text we've read in class. The Manifesto of the Erased, by Crystal Zaragoza, connects to the themes we explored, such as those in Gloria Anzaldua's How to Tame a Wild Tongue. Both works critique the silencing of women and emphasize reclaiming cultural and linguistic identities, making Zaragoza's manifesto feel especially relevant and impactful. I want to start off by introducing my KWL chart. What I know is that the manifesto critiques the expectation that women should remain silent. It's written bilingually, using both English and Spanish, reflecting a cultural blend. The manifesto emphasizes the decolonization and the erasure of women's voices, especially in religious contexts. What I want to know is how the manifesto connects with broader feminist movements and intersectionality. How language choices enhance or complicate the manifesto's message. The specific historical and cultural events influencing Zaragoza's perspective. What I learned is the manifesto's deliberate use of bilingualism as a tool of resistance, representing the multiple identities in Mexican cultures. I analyzed more deeply how Zaragoza critiques colonial influences in religion, portraying El Dios Americano as a symbol of oppression. I discovered new layers in how the manifesto amplifies erased women voices through an unapologetically bold and poetic tone. Next up, we have our glossary, with the word definition, the example from the text, the image, and the personal examples. Erased, meaning removed or made invisible. Mujeres erased from history, their voices silenced. This image represents the erased words in a book. I felt erased when my ideas were ignored in a group project. Decolonize, meaning removing colonial influence. Decolonize el Dios Americano, reclaim your roots. This image represents getting out of your cage. Learning about my heritage helped me decolonize my mindset. Patriarchy, a system where men hold power. Patriarchy demands silence from mujeres. This image represents the power that men hold over women. I've seen patriarchal rules limit women in my family. Resistance, meaning fighting back against oppression. Resistance lives in every mujer who refuses silence. This image represents people standing up fighting against oppression. I resisted when people told me I couldn't pursue dance. Liberation, meaning the freedom from restrictions or oppressions. Seek liberation, not acceptance of oppression. This image represents the broken chain, freedom. Studying my passion gave me a sense of personal liberation. Silence, preventing from speaking or expressing. We are silenced by systems that fear our voices. This image represents a woman being silenced. I felt silence when I couldn't share my feelings after a loss. Cultural, related to traditions and customs. Cultural erasure is the weapon of colonizers. This image represents the Mexican culture. Attending a festival in Juarez connected me to my culture. Spiritual, related to the soul or religious beliefs. Spiritual decolonization begins with rejecting imposed gods. This image represents our spirituality. I feel spiritual when dancing expresses emotions I can explain. Marginalized, pushed to the edge of society. The marginalized are erased from power and history. This image represents those marginalized groups standing up. Growing up, I saw how some groups were marginalized in my city. Empowered, giving strength or confidence. Empowered mujeres will rewrite their history. Girl power. That's the image. I felt empowered when I mastered a challenging dance step. Text to self. When I felt frustrated, seeing traditional roles imposed on women in my family. When I felt empowered, using both Spanish and English to express my identity and connect with others. When I attended a feminist manifestation. Text to text. Gloria Anzaldua's How to Tame a Wild Tongue, especially its critique of silencing women's voices. Ansaldoa's exploration of linguistic identity parallels Zaragoza's use of bilingualism as a form of resistance. Both texts critique the patriarchy and colonial systems that erase marginalized voices, particularly mujeres. Text to World. Global feminist movements advocating for gender equity and cultural representation. The ongoing debate about the influence of colonialism in modern religious practices. To finish off, the social media campaigns calling out the erasure of women in historical and contemporary narratives. Here are 5 cultural elements clearly embedded as part of the text. Bilingualism. Cultural traditions. Generational patterns. Religious critique. Racial. Here's a summary of the text. Crystal Zaragoza's Manifesto of the Erased is a bold and poetic declaration that amplifies the voices of mujeres who have been silenced by systematic oppression. Written both in Spanish and English, the manifesto embodies the duality of cultural identity and the resistance against the erasure of marginalized voices. Zaragoza critiques colonial, patriarchal, and religious systems, particularly focusing on the concept of el Dios americano, which she presents as a tool of oppression. Through her writing, she demands the decolonization of cultural and spiritual frameworks that have historically subdued and erased women, especially those from Mexican and Chicano communities. The manifesto highlights the deep wounds caused by centuries of colonial domination and the patriarchy's role in perpetuating those injuries. Zaragoza's use of vivid language and raw emotion draws attention to the lived experiences of women who have been marginalized by intersecting forms of oppression, including race, gender, and class. Her words reflect a profound frustration with these systems, while simultaneously inspiring a sense of empowerment and collective resistance. By naming these injustices, Zaragoza brings to light the voices that have been systematically erased and offers a path toward liberation through self-awareness and cultural reclamation. Language plays a significant role in the manifesto, with its bilingual format serving as both a symbol of cultural hybridity and an act of defiance. By blending Spanish and English, Zaragoza challenges the dominance of any singular language or narrative, asserting the importance of preserving linguistic identity as an integral part of cultural resistance. This choice resonates with experiences of many readers who navigate multiple cultural and linguistic worlds, particularly those living on the US and Mexico border. At its core, the manifesto is a call to action, urging women to reject silence and invisibility. Zaragoza's writings reminds readers that the act of speaking out is itself a revolutionary act. She challenges mujeres to reclaim their voices, stories, and spaces within a world that has tried to render invisible. The manifesto is not only a critique of oppressive structures, but also a celebration of resilience and the power of collective solidarity. It emphasizes that true liberation comes from embracing one's identity, rejecting imposed narratives, and actively working to dismantle the systems that seek to erase marginalized voices. Through her words, Zaragoza inspires hope, courage, and the determination to fight for cultural and spiritual decolonization. Next, we have a scrapbook. This scrapbook captures Zaragoza's thoughts and feelings as she reflects on the themes of her manifesto. So I want to add that these images used in the scrapbook are created by AI based on the captions I made. This first image represents the resistance of mujeres and some cultural elements. This first entry has an image of an arranged altar, with photographs of women from past generations, representing strength and resistance, with a caption of, "A reminder of the strength of those who came before us. This altar is for the mujeres who refuse to stay silent, whose stories guide me now. Every flame feels like a rebellion. Lighting these candles feels like I'm calling out to their spirits, asking them to stand with me in this fight against erasure." This next entry has an image of a torn page from a Bible, slightly crumpled and marked with annotations, alongside a handwritten note expressing defiance, with a caption of, "A page I ripped out, one where they told me to be silent. I'm keeping it as proof that I won't obey anymore. They told me that the words on these pages were the ultimate truth, that I had no right to question them. But I saw the way they used this book to silence my voice, to tell me my place. Tearing this page out feel like tearing away the chains they try to wrap around my mind. This isn't destruction, it's liberation. To conclude this project, I want to finish off by saying that I'm incredibly thankful for having taken this class. Through it, I've learned so many new things and discovered creative ways to express my thoughts. It also reminded me of how much I truly enjoy reading. This class has reinforced how literature and ideas can connect us, inspire us, and give us strength to embrace who we are. Thank you.